Hi there, people. Welcome back to Spray Love. And today we are going to talk about a Maison Margiela fragrance that is called On a Date. So, what is the concept behind that fragrance and um, is it good? Who could use it? In what circumstance? Etc. We're going to answer some questions here. Uh, it's called On a Date, so the first thing you should have in mind is that it is probably a fragrance that is good for dates. So it's a fragrance that has this kind of romantic uh, charm about it, probably. But let's remind ourselves that Maison Margiela's replica line of fragrances try to replicate or like emulate or give the feeling of the thing that it's supposed to portray. So, for instance, jazz club. We're in a jazz club. There's a band playing. What are the smells surrounding you? There's gonna be alcohol with cocktails and stuff, and there's gonna be um, cigars, maybe tobacco, whatever. Something's being like smoking around, and you're gonna have like this lounge atmosphere. We get the vibe of a cigar vibe, just because like cigar lounges often have like jazz bands and stuff like that. Whatever. So they probably went to like one, like try to encapsulate one jazz bar experience, and it gave jazz club. So that is how they do. Now on a date, I don't exactly remember, and yeah, I don't remember exactly what was the setting, but it was like a date in France. We might think about drinking wine, maybe sangria, maybe, you know, something outdoorsy. It's in the summer or like maybe spring, something like that. Something around those lines. And what we actually get from on a date is a very pretty geranium fragrance with like geranium smells like most people would think it smells like rose. Okay, so geranium is kind of a cheaper alternative to rose. And why is it like such like a big deal in that fragrance is that we might think that they put specifically geranium in there, first off because it blends well with everything, but also because it reminds you of you're young on a budget and you're going on a date, and uh, you're wearing a rose fragrance that actually smells like geranium. Okay, so that's something along those lines. Okay, so I'm just trying to think about like the whole concept, because Marjolaine is all about the details and all about like the realism, like the anchorage and reality of the fashion side of the business, but then also the fragrances. So there's that. There's also kind of a wine aspect to that fragrance. Some people will call it like a sangria vibe because it's kind of fruity, but it's kind of like red wine, kind of something along those lines going on. I also get the note of one fruit in particular that strike my mind like quickly like that is cassis. I think it in French it's cassis. I don't even know in English what it is, but it's a fruit that there's a syrup of, and the syrup, cassis syrup, is often used in champagne, white wine, but also sometimes in red wine to do a little cocktail. They call it like a kirsch, I think. Um, and this is a common practice, and it's used to do cocktails also. It's like fruity cocktails that people love. Oftentimes, it's used during the spring and summer, that syrup, but you can definitely do that like during the winter time. Um, it's especially it's fun to put in champagne during the New Year's Eve. Then again, so you have this element too, the cassis syrup with this fruitiness. It's a sweet fruitiness that uh, invigorates the fragrance with like something a little bit more sweet. And then I get the wine. I get the wine a lot, like the red wine. Not necessarily like a great bottle of red wine. Also, it maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I feel like the intent there is to have like something that is wholesome and that smells not cheap, but that smells like something a first date between two people who are on a budget or something. I think it's that like young people on a budget, uh, that try to do like wear DIY and thrift shop clothes and stuff like that, which is the core essential of like Margiela as a whole brand. This is one of the biggest tenets, so it wouldn't surprise me if it was done on purpose. Then again, I smell some florals, maybe something along the lines of iris or something that kind of gives a lipstick slash makeup vibe to the fragrance. So that it's something that whether you are the person that is wearing makeup, maybe both of you are wearing makeup, or maybe your date is wearing makeup, but this is not important because the scent is supposed to be a replica of the whole vibe. So it's not just about you or about the other person, it's about the situation as a whole. So, I mean, when I sprayed this on, I was like, this is crazy because it does smell like you know, two young people having a great time outdoors, having like kind of a picnic set up or something, like along the bank of a river or something, and they're just having a great time. There's moments of awkwardness. There's moment where they don't know about the future. They don't know about what's going on with them, and but they're definitely like into each other, and it's just a fun time, and it's like great memories. That's like what I get from the fragrance. This is crazy, but it's really like what I get. Like it's this whole experience, and the Margiela replica line is actually very good at that because jazz club, you put it on, you're like, this is kind of a jazz club setting. This is kind of a jazzy, like cigar bar, cigar lounge atmosphere. You get by the fireplace. It's like you're in a cabin in the woods, and you're just burning some logs, and like, and it smells like that. But each of the fragrances they do are also very wearable. Now, is On a Date as wearable as the aforementioned jazz club and by the fireplace? I will say yes, it is totally wearable. It is a great scent. It has like this kind of character that is not completely unique. So it's a kind of a play on something that is a kind of jammy rose geranium fragrance with fruity vibes and like some deeper like notes that gives it like an aromatic kind of a vibe with like kind of a wine thing and some florals. So it's it's a fragrance that it's not completely like there's tons of fragrances out there that are you know uh uh, uh predominantly like a geranium type or rose fragrance, and that also has other supporting florals and also like fruity notes. There's a lot of fragrances like that. You can even think of just like Britney Spears Fantasy is kind of like a bit like that. There's a little bit of geranium. It's not like the star of the show, but it is still something. I think there is some Marc Jacobs flanker for Daisy, and maybe even Daisy like has this kind of a vibe. There's a lot of fragrances out there that has that vibe. But I will say that the Margiela fragrance On a Date, it's the ingredients are superb. Like the blend is amazing, and it really gives off this impression that it's a very wearable fragrance for one, but also it's kind of an experience that brings you into some atmosphere or some setting that is completely gorgeous, you know. So I think that there's a little bit of many things in that fragrance. Like it's not specified also what kind of date. Like maybe it's some other date. Maybe you're inside. Maybe it's the winter. Maybe it's New Year's Eve. Maybe it could be a lot of different settings with a lot of different people in a lot of different countries. But I think they chose like a the French setting. I think there is a river involved. I'm not remembering exactly, but I think this is kind of the setting. Like, yeah, but it could be anything, and like you can feel that there's a whole universe that is just unfolding with that fragrance. So that is a huge thing for me. I think it's a great fragrance just for that. Wearability, everything. I think that mostly women will be attracted to wearing that fragrance. It is like a traditionally more feminine vibe to a fragrance. Uh, and like you like go and smell it and you'll see it's like it's not that original. It's just the picture that it paints is more than just the type of fragrance it is. Like there's added elements to the type of fragrance it is that just makes it so much more interesting. But it is still like play on a traditional like feminine fragrance, if you would. Would I wear it? Like yeah, any day. It's a great fragrance. I love it. I would wear it anytime. Um, and wearability, I think it is like an all year round fragrance. I would definitely wear it like in the spring, summer, and fall season easily. Perhaps summer would be best. It's kind of dense a little bit for like if you want to go to the beach with that fragrance or something, but if you want to like have a fragrance that is more like you're going hiking or you're going for a picnic or whatever, yeah, that fragrance would be super nice. I would probably put it in like a very spring category because it's colder, it's easier to pull off. But I think it's wearable anytime. It's just a question of like will it get too hot that it becomes a bit too much because the geranium has got like this kind of enveloping, almost cloying effect, especially in high heat. But during the rest of the year, it's really okay. And I also think it's not like that much, like it's not that big of a deal. If you wear it during the summer, don't spray too much. I think it is still a lot less cloying than a lot of super huge fragrances out there, like Ultramar and stuff like that, that are very cloying. Um, and even like Black Opium is not as like it's more offensive, a lot more offensive than on a date. And projection and longevity, it is. I think the scent trail is very interesting on that one. I think that it lingers. It lingers like behind you. I think that it projects decently. It is not like a huge projector. I think most of the Margiela fragrances are not like they're pretty good. They're very like decent projection, but it's they're not monsters in that aspect. But on a date is no different. It's kind of like a good projection, very good scent trail, and it lasts a very long time on skin. On me, any Margiela fragrance has lasted a long time, and on the date is no exception. It is a very good fragrance overall, and I recommend you go and try it. So that being said, spread love and spray love. Bye bye.